Hello, my name's Clive Whittam, and I'm looking today at buying a gua sha tool. What kind of material, what kind of shape, what kind of thickness. So if you're wondering what kind of tool to use, then this is the video for you. Okay, so let's start with a report that came out last year in Taiwan, and they did a study and they looked at 25 right-handed people. Some of them were people who used gua sha in their profession, and some of them weren't. And they looked at 5 thicknesses of a gua sha tool. The thinnest one was 0.3 centimeters, and the thickest one was 1.7 centimeters. Now 1.7 centimeters is around 0.7 of an inch. It's not that thick. So they looked at how tired your hand became when you do gua sha using each of these thicknesses. And then they concluded that the thickness of the gua sha tool was directly related to the fatigue of the hand when you actually use it. So basically, the thinner the tool is, the more tired your hand becomes. This is kind of my feeling about gua sha tools. The very thin ones, they make your hand really, really tired if you're going to use them frequently. So let's just have a look now at the ones I've got here, the ones I use in my clinic all the time, and the ones I don't, and why. Firstly, if you do a search on the internet, you're going to come across lots of Jade gua sha tools. Jade is a fantastic material. It has all kinds of wonderful qualities. It's very cooling for your skin, which is great, especially if you're going to do a facial gua sha. And it has lots of philosophical connotations to it in Chinese history. Now I've got some Jade things here. Let me just show you what I've got here. I've got this kind of almost like a pointy gua sha tool here, which is made of jade. I've got another one which is a light color of jade. This one is has a kind of knobbly end there. I've got a very common shape for a gua sha tool, kind of like a wave shape there. And I've got some other ones. I'll show you this one in a second. The problem with jade, it is a great material. I like using it a lot, but let me show you this one. This is the problem with jade. This was a very nice jade tool. It was square with nice kind of lumps at the top there, and here are the lumps. I just dropped it on the floor once. I've got a tiled floor. They break instantly. You drop it, then it breaks. Unless, of course, you've got a carpet, you're okay. I like this kind of shape though, especially on the face area here. This is kind of a nice shape. This is a little bit too thin for me, but I like the kind of ability to actually move your whole arm without having too much effort of your arm. I kind of like this one here, the shape of the wave, but usually these come much bigger. This one, I like it. I like the size. This size I can do a lot with. You can do stuff on your face, you can do stuff on your arms, you can do stuff on your back. Usually these are giant things. If I was holding it, I'd be holding it over here and it'd be like that, or maybe made of metal or some kind of alloy. Those I don't like, but the small one like that, that's great. Now, how about buffalo horn? Here's one of buffalo horn. Now, you know what I was talking about with the thinness? Goodness me, this is about the thinnest you could possibly find. This one is a very common cheap one, this one. I've also got another buffalo horn, which is more like a square one. These are so common. You can pick these up on the internet a lot. Again, look how thin that is. If you're going to be using these ones, which are very, very, very thin, it is going to hurt your hand. And also, over time, they become quite sharp. This one, if I'm touching this, I wouldn't like to have that, especially I wouldn't like that to have on my face, because it's lost its kind of smooth edge. And you find that with buffalo horn. Same with this one. This one's kind of lost its smooth edge as well. I've got another wing-shaped one, and this one still is okay. But the trouble with buffalo horn is that when you clean them, if you put them in a bleach solution or something of that sort, they'll just change shape. They'll become warped. They'll crack. And they're not ideal for using them again and again. Another option is resin. Now I've got a nice pink resin here and an orange one. Now the resin I quite like. The pink one here, I don't know if you can tell, the pink one is much thicker than the orange one. Of course, the shape is the classic shape of the wing, and of course the wing is less the idea of the body and more about the face. As you can see, it's curved, so you can use it along the face. It has dents, which of course the dents can be used on the face again. You can use them on the body, no problem, but they're kind of more designed for your face. Something I see a lot is using the lid of whatever jar you might have. And it's said that these are very good because they're disposable, and I think you can buy lids which haven't been used in bulk, and they're supposed to be the solution for practitioners who use gua sha, because the idea is that you can throw them away after you finish, and you would never cross-infect anyone. Now, this idea of cross-infection, the tools can be cleaned enough so that you can use them again. You just have to know how to clean them. Now, this will be in another video. The problem with this is the shape. Now, it can't be used in areas which have got bones. If you want to go kind of between the ribs here, it's rather difficult because the shape doesn't allow you to do that. This kind of shape is only really for large muscles, which is like your back or your arms or legs. But again, this shape, I mean, what exactly are you doing when you're using this shape here? All I can think of, are you just doing this kind of idea of gua sha where you just use one hand and you're just scraping along the top of the skin over muscles without any idea of which muscles you're targeting, how far in the tissue you're going, if you have knowledge of which Chinese medicine channels are there, and there's a lot that you need to think about when you're targeting an area with gua sha, and I don't think this really does it. I think the only benefit is that it's disposable, but we can get around that. So that's the lid. You know what? You can actually find really nice pebbles from the beach, which are nice and smooth, and you can use those. This one's a little bit too small. But if it was larger, and again the thickness, you've got to make them thicker so your hand doesn't hurt. I see no reason why you can't use any pebble, which you've just got to have a smooth edge, and you can find all kind of weird shaped ones which would be good. Now I've saved the spoon for the last, because this is the one that I prefer. Here's a spoon here. The thickness of it, if I hold it as I hold it in the clinic, then it's much thicker than something like that, which my grip is actually already hurting right there. If I hold this, then it's a much thicker grip, and I just really like the shape of this. I mean, I've got other versions of this that doesn't look so much like a spoon. There's this one here, which has got kind of weird shape to it, which I bought these in bulk before, and I used these, and these were great. Now, if the benefit of the spoon is, of course, the shape. This shape at the top here is perfect for a small area. This shape here is perfect for a large area. It's easy to hold. If you drop it, yeah, it's going to break, especially on my tile floor, but it didn't cost very much. If I go down to the local shop, these have cost me 50 cents. This is in euros. It all depends on personal preference. How does it feel in your hand? And the type of treatment you want to give. I mean, if you're really interested in big muscles and you want to get tension out of muscles, and that's your intention, then yeah, you can have a giant one and dig right in and get the tension out of the muscle. Whereas if you want to do it slightly more delicately and think about the whole body and where this tension in muscle comes from, then you need to use something a bit smaller and think a bit better about how to use it. If you want to know more about this, you can pick up this book anywhere. This is the English version of the main gua sha book that I did, this person here is actually my wife. That's why she's on the front cover and not me, for obvious reasons. You're not going to buy a book with my face on the front. She's also the model in all of this, so that's who that is. It's not just a random Oriental person that I stuck on the front here. So this is the English book. You can also pick it up in Spanish. And again, this design here, this was actually done by my wife, who's Japanese. This was published by Editorial Sirio. There's a Polish version, which I like the front of that one, which is published by Vital. There's also a specific one which came out this year, which is just about the face, which is facial gua sha. You might recognize that person on the front. Again, that's my wife. There's also some more general books which are available, which include these ideas of gua sha, but in a more general sense and using a lot of other ideas. This is the Book of Oriental Medicine, which sounds very wise, but I wrote it, so it's not. That's the one here. It's quite thick. It's available in Italian, and it's also available in French, which kind of looks a bit like the Italian, and it's also available, this is the thickest one, in Spanish. So if you want to know more, get hold of me. My contact details, you'll find them on clivewhitham.com, and more videos like this.